Hello, just wanted to put this little bit at the start of the video just to say that this is in no way sponsored, obviously. I'm not being paid by BBC Books to do this or anything like that, but you definitely should go out and buy the Target Storybook. This video is only the first part of this story, maybe the first half-ish. If you want to hear the rest of it, buy the book and you get loads of other stories with it too. It's really, really fantastic book and you should definitely go and pick it up. But without any further ado, let's just do this thing. Yeah. Doctor Who Decoy by George Mann. Read by Ross Wilson. The Time Lord fleet slid out of the vortex, battle TARDISes piercing reality like so many flashing knife blades, puncturing the gloom. Below the string of gas giants that comprised the Alphos system were immense and colourful baubles, atmospheres swirling with bubbling storms of incandescent gas. At the command dais of the lead battle TARDIS, General Arterix peered upon the starscape with a bristling sense of uncertainty. Adjunct, report. What news from our scanners? Nothing, ma'am. All temporal and gravitational fields remain consistent. A pause. If they're out there, we can't see them. The adjunct kept his voice level, but Arterix could tell he was worried. They were utterly blind, and the enemy could be anywhere, any time. Arterix tugged unconsciously at her collar. Out there, somewhere in the infinite darkness, lurked a Dalek armada. Of course the Dalek ships weren't showing up on the scanners. They never did. They'd be safely nestled in a pocket dimension, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. Waiting until the Time Lords were at their most exposed. Arterix had seen firsthand the new horrors being employed by the creatures from Skaro. Twisted, malformed examples of their kin, extracted from redundant timelines and forced into service, vicious and babbling and half insane. And now they'd concocted some grotesque plan to mine the rare gases from these uninhabited worlds, to use them to power their so-called Epoch Bomb. At least, that's how the Lord President had put it. A weapon that could obliterate entire eras. There was no doubt. They had to be stopped. The coming encounter could represent a turning point in the war. Fail here, and the Daleks would prove unstoppable. And yet, the thought of facing down that terrifying Floisha made Arterix's skin crawl. Recent successes had proved scarce. The Daleks were closing in. Soon enough, if they were not stopped, Gallifrey itself would be assailed. The thought didn't bear thinking. Arterix turned to the figure beside her in the console. The man was short for a soldier, ragged looking, dressed in anachronistic clothing appropriated from 21st century Earth. A leather coat, loose-fitting trousers, boots and a scarf. The lines upon his face spoke of decades of conflict, and his rheumy eyes brimmed with deep sadness. Here was a man, Arterix considered, who bore the weight of regret. A man who had been forced to become the very thing he despised. Perhaps it was that reluctance that had made him such an effective leader. His presence here had certainly quelled any lingering doubts among the troops, inspired them to adhere to the mission briefing, despite the risks. If the Doctor was leading the mission, well, it was practically a given they'd succeed. "We're ready, sir," said Arterix. "Shall I give the order to move in and secure the system?" The man turned to regard her. His eyes were hooded, thoughtful.
"No, not yet, General. Let's just sit here a while, shall we? No point rushing into things."
Bemused, Arterix nodded. "Adjunct, tell the fleet to remain in formation until I give the order." "Aye, ma'am." "And adjunct?" "Yes, ma'am. Watch the skies. The enemy know we're coming." "You're bloody audacious, I'll give you that." Rassilon did not turn away from the window, but a wry smile twitched at the corner of his mouth.
"Doctor, ever the one for a dramatic entrance."
The Doctor, dressed in a rumpled shirt, red and white scarf bunched under his chin, battered leather coat hanging loosely from his shoulders, crossed to where Rassilon stood, his brow furrowed.
"I've told you not to call me that."
A guard, who until now had been silently watching the exchange from the doorway, took a step forward, levelling his stave. Rassilon sighed, raised a gauntleted hand, and the guard retreated to his station. Finally, he turned to face the newcomer.
Then what should I call you? I've heard the Daleks have a name for you. They call you the Deathbringer, or the Predator, or from time to time, the One Without Mercy. And I dare not say what they call you, Rassilon, for fear that your guards may never look at you the same again.
The doctor sounded irritable.
But we both know that's not why I'm here.
Indeed.
I gather some traitorous member of the High Council has made you aware of my little scheme. Replacing me with an Auton clone. Do you really think that'll fool Artrix, or anyone, for long? Long enough for them to fulfill their purpose, said Rassilon. That's all that really matters. Long enough to die, spat the doctor. Long enough to be led unwillingly to their utter annihilation.
Rassilon shrugged.
Tell me, what choice did I have? If the Daleks were to secure the Althos system, within days they'd have the capacity to obliterate us, to eradicate Gallifrey from history. They cannot be allowed to deploy their epoch bombs. So you sent thousands to their deaths, all to lead the Daleks into a trap. War costs. I've heard the same words uttered from the lips of 1,000 tyrants on as many worlds. It always ends the same.
The doctor sounded more tired than angry now.
What I cannot countenance, what I refuse to allow you to do, is to send those men to their deaths believing that I'm there by their side. That I'm the one who willingly led them to their deaths. Call it off. Now. You know I can't do that, Doctor. For some reason, those soldiers actually believe in you.
Rassilon shook his head.
I cannot for the life of me fathom why.
He shrugged.
And yet, I suppose they must all believe in something. That Auton clone. Think of it as a mercy. Instead of being terrified, those men and women will go to their deaths brimming with pride, for they fought alongside the Doctor. And in doing so, they helped arrest the Dalek progress. But it's not me, is it? It's a poor facsimile. How's that going to help them when the Daleks come hurtling out of the night?
It is not. He turned his back on the window and the view of the glittering capital beyond.
But it is done. And you, Doctor, didn't even have to get your hands dirty. You should be thanking me. One last chance, Rassilon. Call it off.
Rassilon laughed.
I think not. Then all that follows is on you. General, long-range scanners are picking up movement at the far extent of the system.
Put it on screen, Adjunct.
Aye, ma'am.
Above the central dais, the ceiling of the battle TARDIS dissolved into a shower of fragmenting light, revealing a tumbling view of the starfield beyond. Artrix watched as the image slowly resolved and magnified.
The Daleks are showing their hand,
said the Doctor, his voice a low growl. Sure enough, Artrix could just make out an array of Dalek saucers fitting into formation on the far side of the system. Accompanying them were a plethora of bizarre craft, mined, once again, from those redundant timelines created by the war, the result of untold Time Lord interference. Artrix saw vast silver globes, antennae and weaponry, dart-like ships that resembled nothing so much as enormous Dalek eye stalks, blue and gold cylinders rippling with round nodules that seemed to have a life of their own, a cannon so large that its main shaft was suspended between 4 huge Dalek saucers lashed to rigid supports. It fizzed with iridescent light, and it was pointed directly at the Time Lord fleet. If they'd followed their orders and moved in to secure the system, they'd already be in range. As it was, the Doctor had prevented a massacre by holding them back.
Sir,
said Artrix, attempting to disguise the tremor in her voice.
Do you intend to engage the enemy fleet?
The Doctor was busying himself at the console, his fingers dancing lightly over the controls.
Not now, Artrix. Can't you see I'm busy?
Yes, sir. My apologies. It's just that
we're greatly outnumbered. Outgunned?
The Doctor moved around the console as he worked, checking monitors, inputting coordinates.
That the odds are stacked against us and we're most likely going to die.
He looked up, met Artrix's gaze.
Those are the sort of odds I like, General. Then you mean to attack?
The Doctor grinned.
I mean to blow the Daleks to oblivion. Just not in the way you imagine.